A Lebanese delegation visiting Egypt to discuss the developments in the region have been warned by Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to prepare their country for the imminent fall of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Any dramatic shift in Syria will have a huge impact on Lebanon, particularly when it comes to the refugees. As of last Thursday, Lebanon has 1,174,690 registered refugees from Syria. About 1 in 5 people living in Lebanon are refugees from Syria's civil war, giving Lebanon more refugees per capita than any other country in the world. It's not surprising given their geographic location. They're right there next to Syria, share a huge border with Syria, The Egyptian president warned of dramatic developments that could suddenly hit Syria, saying that Assad's regime is in really bad shape. He attributes this to military fights that are going on the ground. He's saying they're losing ground, so him stepping down, him falling is imminent, and they should prepare because they're going to see a huge change in things.
Well, Nick, I think that the Syrian refugee crisis is staggering. Lebanon recently put a moratorium refusing registrations as of June the 10th. I think, though, on a different note, al-Sisi isn't necessarily right here. I wouldn't go as far as to say that he's dead wrong because I don't know. But what I do know is that he's one military dictator commenting on another military dictator, and specifically Bashar al-Assad. He says constantly in the press, in French press, in Russian press, that he would rather, basically, he's not going anywhere. He would rather die than see his country fall and become a Western puppet. And when you have him digging his heels in like this, we've seen this going on now for what, a year and a half? I mean, I don't think he's going anywhere.
Right. Look, Lebanon, like you said, they stopped the influx of they're trying to stop the influx of refugees. Lebanon's experience with Palestinian refugees, for example, some 500,000 of whom have now lived in the country for more than 60 years after the UN set up camps that were first established for them in Lebanon. Lebanon doesn't want to establish these same kind of camps. They don't have proper refugee camps because they don't want these people potentially staying permanently and just never going back to Syria. Now, if this was another country, if this was Germany, for example, and they said, no, we're not going to take any more refugees, it might be seen as racist or xenophobic or this or that. But the fact that it's Lebanon, we're kind of just saying, well, they don't want these people to stay here permanently. So it's seen a little bit differently. But it's understandable. The amount, you can't just shake off over a million people and say, well, you should take in more.
I can totally understand their position, the impact that it's having on their economy, their infrastructure, their own jobs. It impacts all of them. Every way of life that they have in Lebanon is impacted by this refugee crisis.
And the whole situation is here.
They have every right as a legitimate state to say we just cannot accept anymore. The international community needs to get involved and do something about these people that are spilling over into border countries like Lebanon.
Right, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. This could potentially be a huge game changer in that situation, which is very unstable at the current place we're in now. The U.S. could possibly see that as a victory in some way if Assad falls. We've been giving money, guns, doing everything we can to fight Assad, and maybe, if he did actually fall, that could be a good thing for the U.S., but could also create a huge power vacuum where groups like ISIS, who control a third of the country, could possibly thrive. So we might see this progress into another boots-on-the-ground military kind of occupation by the U.S., just another Iraq, another Libya. Unfortunately, we'll see what happens. I
don't know how Syria falling would ever be good for the U.S. We would have to get into nation building, like you said, sending troops that we just don't have the resources for. In my opinion, I hope that he doesn't. He doesn't go anywhere, that perhaps they can work this out internally, that we don't have to become the nation builder of the world.
Well, unfortunately, I know that everybody wants that, a diplomatic solution, but it's so complex, it's so deep, there's so many people that have been displaced, dead, it's to the point where that doesn't even seem like it's a possibility, unfortunately. Anyways, we want to know what you guys have to say about all this by commenting below, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the Lip TV 2 for more.